this parallel world. You see it through things like the Qingming Festival, when families visit ancestral graves.
Right, tomb sweeping day.
Yeah. And the descriptions are striking. The graves are like small houses or very large armchairs. It really emphasizes the idea that the dead still need a place, a dwelling.
And the offerings, food and incense and such.
Exactly.
Welcome to Witter. Who Has Time to Read? The podcast that brings deep dives for busy minds. Listen to AI hosts Jane and Dane and get ready to unpack the world's most captivating books in just a fraction of the time. Whether commuting, working out, or just squeezing in a quick break, we deliver key insights, thought-provoking themes, and takeaways you can carry into your day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Plus, use our links in the description to purchase this book. Your support helps us bring more engaging book discussions to you. Listen and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Who has time to read? You do, with Witter.
Welcome back to Witter. That's Who Has Time to Read. For you busy folks craving a good intellectual shortcut.
We're diving deep again.
Yep, deep dives for busy minds. And continuing our AAPI Voices series this month for Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, we're plunging into a really fascinating debut novel, The Ghost Bride.
Oh, by Yangsze Choo, a fantastic book.
It really is.
And, it got a Goodreads Choice Award nomination, and now it's a Netflix drama, which, well, that says something.
Pretty definite.
Choo does this amazing job blending Chinese folklore, a genuinely intriguing romance plot, and some, properly eerie supernatural bits.
All set in colonial Malaysia, which is such a rich backdrop.
Exactly. That complex tapestry.
Absolutely. So our mission today, like always, is to sort of cut through the noise, get to the heart of what makes this book special. We'll unpack the themes, look at the cultural lens.
And figure out its contribution to the API experience.
Right. Precisely. Offering those insights for busy minds. Okay, so The Ghost Bride. That title alone. Let's start there. What exactly is a ghost marriage in this story?
Well, the book introduces this traditional, though actually quite rare, practice, ghost marriage. Essentially, it's presented as a way to, appease restless spirits.
Appease them? How so?
By giving them companionship in the afterlife, making sure they have a proper place, someone with them. And for the living bride, our protagonist, Li Lan, it's also framed as like a form of security.
Security? Marrying someone who's deceased.
Yeah, it's pitched as a way to provide her with a future, though obviously a very unconventional one. You can just imagine how unsettling that idea is for her.
Unsettling is putting it mildly. Marrying the dead son of this rich family she barely knows.
Exactly. And all of this plays out in colonial Malaysia. That specific setting is crucial.
Right. How does that backdrop shape things?
Oh, hugely. Colonial Malaysia was this incredible melting pot. You had the indigenous Malay people, obviously, then Chinese immigrants arriving over generations.
Including the Peranakan?
Yes. The Peranakan Chinese, locally born, with their own unique blend of Malay and Chinese customs. Really fascinating. They have their own dialect, different clothes.
And things like no foot binding, right? That set them...
Correct. That was a difference from, say, more recent arrivals directly from China. And then overseeing it all, you had the British...
ruling class.
Yeah.
Setting up government, laws, English schools.
Absolutely. So this layering of cultures just creates this really dynamic, sometimes tense, social world for the characters.
So it's not just one straightforward set of traditions, but all these interactions.
Precisely. And speaking of traditions, Li Lan's journey takes her into the Chinese afterlife itself. How's that shown?
Yeah, tell us about that.
Choo paints a really vivid picture of this parallel world. You see it through things like the Qingming Festival, when families visit ancestral graves.
Right, tomb sweeping day.
Yeah. And the descriptions are striking. The graves are like small houses or very large armchairs. It really emphasizes the idea that the dead still need a place, a dwelling.
And the offerings, food and incense and such.
Exactly. That shows the deep reverence for ancestors, which is such a cornerstone. But then you contrast that with Li Lan's personal fear about becoming a ghost bride to a stranger in that realm.
It really highlights that tension, doesn't it, between tradition and her own feelings?
Absolutely. That push and pull is central. And, beyond the big spiritual stuff, their everyday lives seem steeped in superstitions, too.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, think of Amma, her servant, being reluctant to name something bad for fear of making it happen.
Ah, that belief in the power of words.
Right. Or avoiding certain gifts. Clocks are a big one, ticking away life, supposedly. Or knives, suggesting you're cutting ties.
It's like navigating life with this whole extra set of invisible rules.
Totally. And another huge driver in the story seems to be family and social status.
Oh, definitely. You feel that pressure.
Yeah, family reputation, financial standing, it's critical. Li Lan's family has fallen on hard times, which will really limits her marriage options.
And that's set against the Lim family, who are incredibly wealthy.
Exactly. That stark contrast makes their ghost marriage proposal both like a potential lifeline and deeply problematic for her.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about the pressures involved.
It does. How money and status just crash into these deeply personal life choices. What about the women's roles? What were the expectations in that society?
Well, the book touches on that. Marriage, running a household, those were key expectations. But it also hints that things in Malaya might have been maybe slightly less rigid than mainland China at the time.
How so?
Like unmarried women from decent families could sometimes be seen in public, though usually with a chaperone. That was maybe a bit more relaxed.
Interesting. And the jewelry, you mentioned that playing a role.
Yes, that's a fascinating detail. Jewelry wasn't just for show. For women, it could also represent a form of personal security, like portable wealth they controlled.
Like a personal safety net. That makes sense.
And the wealth of the Lims, the book, really describes their mansion vividly, doesn't it?
Oh, incredibly. The imported porcelain, that grand foyer.
Yeah, the black and white checkerboard floor, all those clocks, it screams status.
What was the deal with all the clocks?
Well, it showed wealth, but the old master was also fascinated by Western clocks specifically. Their precision, useful for navigation. It again shows that mix of East and West influences.
It's like their house itself is a symbol of their position and connections?
Absolutely. And then Li Lan gets pulled into this connection with the deceased son, Lim Tiancheng, but through dreams. That sounds creepy.
It really does. How does that work?
She's involuntarily drawn into this, dream world linked to him, and it's often filled with images that feel like funerals, offerings.
Yeah.
It really blurs the lines between her reality and this spectral place.
Creating this real sense of unease for her, I bet. She's trying to figure out what's happening.
Exactly. So she's stuck navigating the waking world in this disturbing dreamscape. But amidst all that, there's a more earthly connection forming too, isn't there?
Yes. With Tianbai. Tell us about him.
Right, Tianbai. He works as a clock cleaner, interestingly, and he's Madame Lim's cousin. He's shown as knowledgeable, maybe offering a different kind of perspective.
And Li Lan is drawn to him.
There's definitely an attraction there. It provides this really strong contrast to the, frankly, disturbing presence of Lim Tiancheng in her dreams.
Sets up that classic romantic tension, but in this really bizarre, supernatural context.
Precisely. It's that mix of the real and the ghostly that's so compelling. And things get even more otherworldly. Li Lan actually travels to the plains of the dead.
Yeah, in spirit form after she almost dies. That sounds intense.
It's a major turning point. Chu's description is surreal, fascinating. You have these ox-headed demons as border officials.
Wow, mythological gatekeepers.
Yeah, and all sorts of different ghosts. It gives you this really tangible, though obviously imagined view of the Chinese afterlife.
Like a travel guide to the beyond based on those beliefs. And we see other specific death practices too.
Oh, yes. The burning of hell banknotes, those paper ingots.
Yeah.
It's explained as giving the dead resources they need over there.
Makes sense within that worldview.
And the elaborate food offerings, especially during festivals like Qingming, it really underscores the ongoing link, the responsibility the living feel towards their ancestors. It's not just ritual, it's about connection.
It feels very deep-seated. The story also hints at secrets, doesn't it? Complex family stuff. The third concubine is mentioned.
Yes, the third concubine definitely signals some intricate dynamics and probably hidden secrets in both families, Li Lan's and the Lims.
And Yan Hong's mother, her story.
That story adds another layer, suggesting past tragedies, things swept under the rug that still affect the present. It reminds you that families everywhere have hidden histories.
Seems like there's always more going on beneath the surface. There's also this idea of a spirit thread. What's that about?
The spirit thread. It's a lovely symbolic idea. It represents a strong connection, an emotional bond between people living or dead.
So Li Lan has one.
She has one linked to Tianbai's comb, hinting at their growing connection. And another character, Fan, has one too. It visualizes these invisible ties that bind people, even across realms.
So Lian is really caught in between, isn't she? Not quite living, not quite dead.
Exactly. That liminal state is key. It allows her to interact with both worlds, makes her this unique bridge, and observer, crucial for solving the mysteries.
It's such a rich, distinctive story world she's built. Okay, let's pivot slightly. Thinking about the bigger picture, how does The Ghost Bride, with all this specific cultural detail and supernatural flair, contribute to the wider AAPI experience in literature?
Well, I think it offers a really valuable and, importantly, specific window. It focuses on Chinese families in colonial Malaysia. That's a historical and cultural context maybe less commonly seen than, say, the Chinese-American story.
Right, broadens the map of the AAPI experience, reminds you how diverse it is.
Exactly. The novel really showcases traditions, superstitions, social structures, all rooted in Chinese heritage, but clearly adapted and evolved within that Southeast Asian setting.
It shows how culture travels and changes.
Yeah, and it explores those universal themes, family duty, expectations, identity. But through this very particular cultural lens, you connect with the characters' struggles, but you also learn so much about their world.
And the supernatural stuff isn't just tacked on, is it?
Not at all. It's woven directly into their beliefs about the afterlife, about ancestors. It provides this unique spiritual perspective that's totally integral to the plot and the characters' motivations.
Plus, Li Lan herself, she's quite a strong protagonist navigating all this.
She really is. She shows impressive resilience, agency too, considering the constraints she's under. She's not passive. She actively tries to figure things out, overcome obstacles, makes her very engaging.
And the mix of genres probably helps its reach, too. Historical fiction, romance, spooky bits.
Absolutely. That blend makes it accessible, grabs different kinds of readers, but it never loses that grounding in specific cultural details. It's entertaining and culturally informative.
And Choo packs in so many sensory details, you really feel immersed.
Oh, totally. Qingming festival descriptions, mahjong games, clothes like the kebaya and batik, all the food kui, pandan cakes, laksa, satay.
Makes you hungry just reading it.
Right. And even small things like Li Lan calling older women auntie out of respect. It all adds layers of authenticity.
It paints such a complete picture. And underneath it all, it's touching on that history of Chinese migration to Malaya.
It subtly grounds the story in that important historical context, yeah. Giving a fictional but culturally rich look at how these communities formed and identities developed in Southeast Asia.
So yeah, The Ghost Bride is much more than just a cool ghost story. It's this fascinating dive into culture, history, resilience, all within a really specific API context.
Exactly. It's a really compelling mixed tradition, folklore, a young woman's journey caught between worlds, a truly valuable piece of the AAPI storytelling tapestry.
This has been fantastic, really getting into the layers of The Ghost Bride. It does make you think, doesn't it? About how culture shapes our choices, our destinies, in ways we might not even realize. And the role beliefs about the afterlife, or just unseen things, play in our present lives. The impact of history, colonialism, big stuff.
Gives you a lot to chew on. And if this deep dive got you interested, well, you could definitely check out Yangsze Choo's other books.
Or maybe dig into the history of Chinese communities in Southeast Asia, or even the actual tradition of ghost marriage.
Yeah, there's so much more to explore there.
Okay, so as we wrap up, let's leave you with this thought to ponder. In our world today, where cultures are constantly mixing and ancient beliefs still echo, what unseen forces, maybe cultural, maybe personal, maybe even spiritual, might still be subtly shaping your life, your choices, in ways you haven't fully considered? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Thanks for listening to Witter, Who Has Time to Read, produced by One Media. Please support the author by purchasing the book or audiobook using the link in the description. It's a great way to help keep the art of writing alive. And stay in the loop. Subscribe to our newsletter for updates on weekly deep dives. And don't forget to share your thoughts or suggest our next deep dive at witterpodcast@gmail.com.